Okay. Okay. Cool. So I'm Traci Hodes, and I'm one of the community leaders of Elm Community Insight. So welcome to our meditation group. Sometimes you might hear us saying Sangha. That's just the Pali word for community. And we definitely are a community here in the library. We're here every Saturday from 10:30 to 12. Sometimes our leaders are online. Here's our technology. And Aishah is going to be leading us today. And sometimes it will be one of the community leaders here in the library. Just depends on the week. Um, we are also online every day of the week, Monday through Friday, actually, online, so not Sunday, from 7:30 to 8:30 in the morning. And if you are interested in that, there are business cards at the back that will show you how to get onto our website. I think Dave has already oriented people to kind of what today might look like, and I think Aishah will also do that. Um, of what her kind of flow is going to feel like. And feel free to ask us questions and welcome. So, Aishah, I'll hand it over to you, okay? And I'm going to put you here on speaker. There you go.
Okay. Thank you, Traci. And I'm going to just remove the pen here. And for everyone who's on Zoom, if you want to have the feeling of being in community, I'm pinning the video, but feel free to click on view for gallery view. So that we can be a Sangha online, a community online, while folks who are at the library will be community there. All right. Good Saturday morning. Happy autumn equinox. Hard to believe that we have officially entered fall season. Change. So as we always do, or often do with the weekly sits on Saturday, we begin with an opening meditation for about 20 minutes, and then we'll take a break, and then I will give a talk, and if there's time, hopefully there will be time for engagement. So this is just for all those who are new, and just welcome to all of the newcomers in the room. So I want to invite everyone to just take a moment to settle and arrive, body and mind together, wherever you are. Our bodies are always in the present moment, always. But oftentimes our minds are either in the past or the future or elsewhere. So let's just take a moment to connect mind, body. And you can do that. There are many ways to do that, but one way, which I invite everyone to do it, is through the breath, our constant companion from birth until we take our last breath. Oftentimes we're not aware of it, but it is always with us. So just inviting you to connect with the breath through either feeling the rising and falling of your abdomen or of your chest, or feeling the sensation below the nostrils and above the upper lip. And if your eyes are open, I invite you to either close your eyes, and if that's not comfortable, to then just create a soft gaze where you're not focused on anything specific. We're turning or inclining the attention to what is known as the sense doors to support us coming into the present moment. The sense doors are the eyes, the nose, the mouth, our skin, body sensations, and ears. So, all of those doors that connect us to the outside, I'm inviting you to help them, to help I'm inviting you to invite them to support you in tuning in, connecting with the breath, connecting with sound, sound of my voice, sound that you may hear where you are located. Maybe the absence of sound. Staying connected to the breath and sound. I invite you to expand your awareness to the field of your body, feeling your body sitting on the floor or in a chair. You may be lying down or even standing. Regardless of the position, you are connected to the earth. And so being aware of your connection to the earth through the profound gift of gravity. And in these moments while we're together, just remembering that there isn't anywhere to go. We are here and we're practicing awareness of our mind, body, awareness of sound, awareness of breath. We are here. And the mind will wander. And I share this for the newcomers. The mind will wander. I share this for the seasoned practitioners. And when it does, when we are aware aware that it has wandered. That is a moment, an instant of awakening. And we just gently bring the mind back to focusing on the breath, focusing on sound, focusing on body sensations, without judgment, without comparing to what happened before, just being here. I invite you to incline the mind to curiosity, beginner's mind, instead of judging mind, fixing mind, comparing mind. When we are curious or beginning anew, we can be open to all that arises and all that unfolds as we stay connected to our breath and body sensations. I'm going to invite everyone to participate in a silent practice that is offered as part of loving kindness, known as Mettā. The Pali word is Mettā, as well as equanimity in the Pali word is Upekkhā, which I will be talking about later. But so often we are in moments where the urge is to react and not respond. And this is a practice that can help us to pause, and in that pausing, discerning the best way to move forward. So there are a series of phrases that I learned from Larry Yang, Dharma teacher. Actually, I learned them from Gina Sharp, who received them, learned them also from her co-teacher, Larry Yang. And so what I'll do is say a phrase and invite you to repeat that phrase after me, silently. Can I be loving to myself or others in this moment? Can I be loving to myself or others in this moment? If I can't be loving to myself or others, can I be kind? If I can't be loving to myself or others, can I be kind? If I can't be kind to myself or to others, can I be non-judgmental? If I can't be kind to myself or others, can I be non-judgmental? If I can't be non-judgmental of myself or of others, can I not cause harm? If I can't be non-judgmental of myself or of others, can I not cause harm? If I cause harm to myself or to others, can I cause the least amount of harm possible? If I cause harm to myself or to others, can I cause the least amount of harm possible? Can I be loving? Can I be kind? Can I be non-judgmental? Can I not cause harm? Can I cause the least amount of harm possible? Staying with the breath and body sensations. Allow those words, phrases to surround you. Perhaps it is time to sit less and meditate more. Mindfulness is easy on the cushion, difficult on the street, but it is here in the life, in the body, in the to and fro that we see more clearly our impurity, our delusion, our greed, and our hatred. It is here we most need to watch, to see, to be aware, to sit with it all, to be with it, to be. We need to sit when we move. Meditation is not an escape, it is but the silent observation of reality. And this can be done, must be done, with every breath we make, with every step we take. Thank you for your practice. We'll now take a break. It is 7 minutes after the hour, and we'll come back in, let's say, 20 minutes after the hour, right? 7. No, yes, 20 minutes after the hour, 13-minute break to either stretch. You may want to practice walking meditation or journal. I will ring the gong at 20 minutes after the hour. I hope everyone had a good break, either resting or movement, meditation or journaling, or just continuing sitting practice. It's fascinating because I was joking with my partner. I was like, I think I need to come up with other topics that I want to talk about, because every time that I decide what I'm going to talk about, it feels like I life gives me an extra test to be like, okay, are you walking it? Or can you embody it? And so the title of my Dharma talk today, this afternoon, is Equanimity. Whew, yeah, just feeling it, right? um, Equanimity, um, an anchor in the groundlessness, amid the groundlessness that life offers. And I just want to say it is such a powerful teaching, and equanimity is known as Upekkhā in Pali, the Pali language. And Pali is the language that the Buddha spoke. In Sanskrit, which is a lot of the terms that we know now, like so is Upeksa. But Upekkhā is said to be the secret ingredient in mindfulness. It is definitely an important quality throughout Buddhism. The fourth of what's known as the Brahma Viharas, which are the heart practices. The seventh of the seven factors of enlightenment. And the 10th of the 10 paramis, known as the 10 perfections. I'm going to use Upekkhā, equanimity, and balance interchangeably. And so in within the Brahma Viharas, Upekkhā is listed as the fourth of the divine abodes, coming after Mettā, which means loving kindness, Karuna, which means compassion, Mudita, which means empathetic, appreciative joy. Um, However, it's important to note that equanimity, which is the fourth one of the four Brahma Viharas, is in a cyclical dance with each of the Brahma Viharas. Because without equanimity, without balance, how can we cultivate loving kindness and compassion? How can we generate appreciative joy? Without equanimity, without balance, we can't see the whole of everything occurring. So it's through balance that wisdom can arise. And it's really important to note that Upekkhā doesn't mean indifference. It doesn't mean apathy or not caring, aloof, distant, or cold. In fact, it is the exact opposite. So sometimes indifference is people can think of it as indifference, and it's actually what's known as a near enemy to equanimity. Um, it really means staying with it, being present for all that arises. Equanimity supports our managing our internal reactions to what is true, including those qualities that we may not want to face within ourselves and also externally. It serves as an anchor to keep us grounded amid the groundlessness that life offers. It keeps us from being swept in what is known in Buddhism as the eight worldly winds. And those winds are four opposing states that exist in all of our lives. They are pleasure and pain, gain and loss, praise and blame, fame and disrepute. We tend to spend so much of our lives grasping for one and running away from the other without fully understanding that it's very rare that we have one without the other. It's rare that we're going to have pleasure without at some point experiencing pain, that we have gain without at some point experiencing loss, that we are praised one moment and then the next moment, or maybe several moments later, we're blamed, or that we receive fame and then there's disrepute. So we can't avoid the winds. They are an integral part of all of our lives. And yet, when we get caught up in these winds, um, which because of our craving for one and aversion to its opposite, they're like tornadoes wreaking havoc in our lives without awareness of impermanence and with the ability to practice equanimity and cultivate balance. So it's important to share that the wins in of themselves, they're really not the problem. It's just they're wins, you know? It's our reactions to them that they give a wide range of feelings that can take us to, on either end of the pendulum of extreme highs or devastating lows. And the work through our Dharma and mindfulness practice is to strive to cultivate a level of equanimity, of balance on either end of this spectrum, because we're going to be at either end of this spectrum at some point. And with the reality of impermanence and nature of things changing all of the time, it is critical that we learn how to cultivate balance. So when we have gain, can we be with it knowing that loss, some form of loss, is around the corner? And can we have the balance when we experience the loss, knowing that gain, some form of gain, is around the corner? And I'm not only talking about material possessions in terms of gain or praise and blame, that there's so many ways in which we can experience gain and loss that is not just about the material possessions. So the challenge is when we crave or cling to one state and are afraid or have aversion to its opposite state, we awaken but not eradicate what's known as the three poisons that are often sleeping volcanoes, and they're known as greed, hatred, and delusion. Craving is a form of greed, and aversion is a form of hatred and delusion. And about and it's really understanding that there is something that um that doesn't exist, that is that it is excuse me that it is that what's lurking amid the two, between the two of hatred, three of delusion and greed, that is an opportunity for balance, because if not, we will not be released from the pain or suffering. So, a lot of times, at least for myself, when I think about greed, I think about greed for, like, I don't know, money or material possessions. I don't think about greed in terms of craving for something that is happening to stop happening, rather than kind of being with what is. And again, that doesn't mean, because there's a slippery slope here with forms of harm and oppression. So it doesn't mean that we don't seek to change things, but it is just kind of stirring in that pot of craving, 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 that we're not unable to find an evenness, a stability, balance. And it is then that these energies become hindrances or blockages, because our conditioned habit is to be identified with them, or ignore, resist, suppress, deny, judge, or try to control them. And yet, when met with mindfulness and care, these same energies become an immediate gateway to increased aliveness in spiritual awakening. Equanimity allows us to witness and be fully present for impermanence. And I'm reminded of the impermanent chant that I will say in English and not in Pali. All things are impermanent, they arise and they pass away. To be one with this truth brings great happiness. All things are impermanent, they arise and they pass away. To be one with this truth brings great happiness. And it's important to note that Upekkhā, equanimity, balance, they don't stop the winds. What they do is support our balanced response, not reaction to them. And it is in these brief or long glimpses of reality as it is, not as we want it to be, that we can truly discern and develop razor sharp clarity about what is really happening versus what we are projecting is happening. It provides an elevated perspective, which gives us a broader landscape. Equanimity provides stability. It offers an evenness of the mind, an unshakable freedom of mind. It's a state of equipoise in face of the vicissitudes. Yes, We have to be aware of our feelings when the vicissitudes come and go, when we're riding those waves, when we're swept in the winds. It's not about suppressing them. It's not about denying them. It's about staying with them and working to cultivate balance with them. There's so much happening externally in our lives that can just really pull the rug from under our feet in our personal lives, in our professional lives. Then, when we step outside of that reality, just dealing with all that is happening in our country, and speaking in the US, dealing with what's happening in the world, just just so much happening. So I haven't looked at the news. I mean, I read the papers, but I hadn't turned on any of the cable news networks, and I did, or it was on. I turned on TV and it was on, and I observed myself being kind of consumed with um, just really despair around the climate change, and how it's just wreaking havoc um, throughout this globe, that no place is really safe without the impact of with because of the from the impact of climate change, that we all run the risk of becoming refugees because of climate change, from fires to floods to mudslides. It's just, it's unbearable. And then, the political state in this country, I'm very personally concerned about the state of democracy, the very fragile state of democracy that is here. I have no idea what is going to happen next year with these national elections, let alone all of the local and state elections. There's just so much happening around reproductive justice, around, all of the anti-bills that are impacting LGBTQIA folks, especially trans youth, banning of books. I mean, it's just, the list goes on, the proliferation of gun violence, and, reminding us that we're not safe in doctors' offices and malls and movie theaters. And just, there's so much discord, and it's because there's so much suffering, so much suffering. And so how do we not feel despair in these moments? And again, that's the external, let alone what is happening internally. And I believe that equanimity is one of many antidotes to despair. It is an opportunity to turn in and not zoom out. It supports our turning in um, towards reality with balance. And I have really been thinking a lot about Upekkhā. And I just want to share that for me, a person, ancestor that really came to mind, that comes to mind, that came to mind when I is Harriet Tubman. And I lift her up because I continuously am in awe of the level of equanimity that Harriet Tubman must have had to make the journey from her personal freedom post escaping enslavement back to Maryland, where slavery was legal, somewhere between 13 to 19 times, rescuing anywhere between 70 to 300 enslaved Africans. And while I'm sure many of us, hopefully all of us, know who Harriet Tubman was, I just want to briefly, share that she was an enslaved Black woman who, due to a horrible blow to her head from the man who owned her, he was throwing uh, an instrument at someone else, at another enslaved person, and it hit her in the head. She suffered from horrible, debilitating migraines. She suffered from narcolepsy because of the draconian laws during enslavement. She, like many enslaved Black people, was illiterate. And I share that to emphasize her being a brilliant strategist and courageous warrior. And for me, a bodhisattva, and that is someone who was clear that her liberation was tied up into the liberation of others. And so I think about what it must have taken for what it took for her to keep going back to the site of terror. And I speak as a trauma survivor, to the site of terror over and over again. Again, as I said, between 13 and 19 times, rescuing people, knowing that there was a bounty on her head, knowing that she was. I don't know if she used the word narcolepsy, but knowing that she could fall out asleep from narcolepsy, knowing that the in horrible, wretched migraines, being illiterate, so not being able to read signs, and yet having the responsibility of many people who she brought back to freedom, brought to freedom in terms of physical freedom from bondage. What level of balance and equanimity she had to have had. I think about that because I really initially, when I was first heard about equanimity, it definitely, I knew that it was powerful, but it wasn't directly speaking to me because I took it as just I took it as indifference, or everything just happens and you're just calm and you're just balanced. I didn't understand that equanimity is a compassionate force that is compassionately fierce. And and it was really thinking about Harriet Tubman, um, that I really understood that equanimity is not milk toast, that balance requires being deliberate and intentional, using quoting from Audre Lorde. Again, it is a compassionate force that is compassionately fierce. So I ask us, can we create a space of wisdom and compassion in the face of suffering, in the face of horror and brutality? And I believe that through equanimity, we have an opportunity to do that. One of my teachers, Tereri Sala, states that our level of impulse is towards finding an immediate solution to alleviate whatever is ailing us personally and societally. And yes, when thinking about all of the horrors that may be happening in our intimate lives, let alone in the world, we believe we have to find solutions. But we can't do that work when we are unbalanced and in reactivity mode. When we soften, as Tereri teaches, without worrying about solving why we are averse, our capacity to come up with a skillful means can arise. It is through this balanced perspective, which is wise view, that we can see with insight and wisdom what is the most appropriate and humane thing I can do, that when in response, not reaction to harm. We can't look away from all of the elements that have come together to exasperate violence in our minds, and if we're not aware. While there is a wide spectrum of harm, no one, including every single one of us at this hybrid Elm Community Insight gathering, is exempt. We are all here co-creating our world every single minute of every single day. Are we aware of our reactivity, of our prejudices, of our greed, of our delusion, regardless of how minute or humongous? Can we be interested and curious, as hard as it is, about what these qualities can teach us? Can we bow to the inevitability, of change? Can we bow to the winds? We can tune in to contemplate what it is that we are called to do in these moments. We each have gifts. And what are those gifts that we can bring? And I'm not talking about material, to respond and not react. We are indeed able to heal that which is wounded internally and externally. And equanimity supports our cultivating the ability to meet whatever is facing us pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral with evenness. We cultivate balance to discern. We cultivate equanimity so that we can be compassionately firm in the wind. We can bend but not break. Upekkhā is our anchor amid the groundlessness and our surfboard amid the waves. We may go under from time to time. We may flail around in the wind from time to time. But if we don't let go of our anchor, even while we're flailing or even while we're going under the surfboard, we can put a stake or climb back up and begin again. Remember, we are practicing practice. This isn't about perfection. We will make mistakes. We will react. But we have the opportunity to touch our equanimous heart that knows the changing nature of existence, the heart that knows profoundly the complex experience of being humanity, being human, including all of humanity, not only those whom we love, whom we are affiliated with, aligned with, all of humanity, those whom we dislike, those who cause harm, that there is a capacity within all of us for change. And again, I always lift up this question when I give these talks, a question that Dharma teacher Derar Williams poses: given the external conditions, what are you going to do about it? Now, I want to remind us that with equanimity, there's always room for bypassing. We have to be mindful. So this isn't, oh, nothing is bothering me, I'm okay, especially when we aren't okay. We're not faking it until we make it. This is why it is so important to pause, to acknowledge, ooh, this is uncomfortable. I am not happy. To acknowledge this to ourselves and to the best of our abilities, not unleash that onto others. And if we react, and we will, how quickly can we come back from that reaction? Which is part of the practice that I offered during our sit around asking us, can we be loving? Can I be loving in this moment? And when I'm saying loving, I'm talking about love as a force, not the anemic love, not romantic love, which is beautiful and also impermanent, but love as a force, love in the form of metta. Can I be loving? And maybe in this moment, you can't. Can I be kind? Can I be non-judgmental? Can I not cause harm? And if I do cause harm, can I cause the least amount of harm possible? Equanimity is the gift that enables us to move with causing the least amount of harm possible, to finding the balance. Just yesterday, my phone broke, and I was like, oh my God, I got to buy a new phone. And I found myself just spiraling out. This morning before coming here, I got an email that I wanted to respond to. I was so angry and hurt. And thankfully, I couldn't because I had to be here. And I was just like, Aisha, pause, pause, pause. And yes, you may respond, but you don't want to react. This person may have experienced harm that from even while not your intention, they may have experienced harm. And so it's that this is the gift of equanimity. It's the gift of pause, the gift of tuning into ourselves, to our own reactions, because we can't control what's happening externally. Someone is going to say or do something, something is going to happen that is going to get us off kilter. And can we find that balance? Can we find that balance so that we can discern about how to move forward, how to respond, hopefully with compassion and with kindness? And so I thank you and would love to open it up for reflections and conversation.
So again, just thanking everyone for coming. Thank you so much. If you are so inclined to what we call Dhamma, to donate, you donated by coming today. That's generosity. And we would love also if you're able to donate in any other way. And if you're interested, again, those cards on the table, or you can go to our website, Elm Community Insight, and there's a donate button. And it could be $1. It could be the way the Dharma, the teachings talk about it, is what is your heart moved to donate? And you listen to that. There's no right amount. And again, we welcome you to come anytime online or in person. And last announcement is we have a day-long retreat next week here in the library. Gina LaRoche, one of our founding community leaders, will be here leading us. It will be hybrid, and you can come for half the day, this amount of time, or you could come for the whole day. And we'll be providing lunch and sitting and walking and resting and yoga and journaling, and it'll be a really beautiful day. So thank you. And I will hand it over to you, Aishah.
Thank you, Traci, and thank you everyone at the library and everyone on Zoom. So just want to invite us to just gather ourselves as we do the dedication of merits of our practice. And you know, we've come together definitely to receive so many benefits from being together, from our practice together, and then also to share those benefits with all beings everywhere and without exception. And so it is in this context that I want to share a Mettā meditation from One Earth Sangha, and it is the extended version. And so just inviting you to close your eyes if you feel comfortable, or lower your gaze, tuning in, connecting to the breath and body sensations, and gathering up all of the energy and benefits that you've received from our time together, and just sending it everywhere. May all places be held sacred. May all beings be cherished. May all injustices of oppression and devaluation be fully righted, remedied, and healed. May all who are captured by hatred be free to the love that is our birthright. May all who are bound by fear discover the safety of understanding. May all who are weighed down by grief be given over to the joy of being. May all who are lost in delusion find a home on the path of wisdom. May all wounds of forest, rivers, deserts, oceans, all wounds to Mother Earth be lovingly restored to bountiful health. May all beings everywhere delight in whale song, bird song, and blue sky. And may all beings everywhere, without exception, abide in peace and well-being, awaken, and be free. Thank you. Wishing everyone a good Saturday afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.